Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a better late than never November reading wrap up. So if any of you have been following this channel, you know that I actually created a November TBR this month, and well, we didn't really stick to it. So however, I did get a fair bit of reading done in the month of November. So if you want to find out what I read, just stick around. So I should probably talk about the books that at the moment I am midway through and I'm actually planning on finishing. I did a lot of DNFing this month and I read some very not so good stuff. So the first book, which I have here, which I'm quite close to finishing, I've been listening to it on audiobook, is The Miseducation of Cameron Composed by Emily M. Danforth. This follows the story of a girl whose parents at the beginning of the book die, and she is starting to come to terms with her sexuality. She's experimenting quite a bit, and her aunt, who takes care of her after her parents' death, sort of is very Christian and is very religious, and she actually sends Cameron away to a medical camp to get her cured for her homosexuality. And this kind of follows Cameron's kind of experience in this camp and the experience of her finding her sexuality. This book has taken me quite a long time to read. I've got about 100 pages left, about an hour on the audiobook. Because it's not a fast-paced, plot-driven book, it's very much an exploration of Cameron growing up and her feelings and some of the things that happen to her, and kind of how she experiences the camp, which they call, I think, Promise. How she experiences the camp and how they try and cure her and how she doesn't think she can be cured, etc. This is good. I have struggled with the pacing, like I said, and it's taken me quite a long time to read. However, I've got about 100 pages left. I think that I'm probably going to read it soon. And the next book that I'm halfway through, I don't have on me, but it is one of the ones that was on my non-fiction TBR. It's actually the only book that I started on my non-fiction TBR, which is Burton on Burton. This is kind of like a story of Tim Burton's life and his films. The book literally kind of breaks it down film by film, and the writer is talking to Tim about how he went about making the film, what inspired him, how successful it was, how Tim felt. This is really good. It keeps going film by film, so some films I'm a lot more interested than others. So I've just got to the bit on The Nightmare Before Christmas and I'm super interested in that bit. However, I was like less interested in the stuff on Batman. So it's a bit of hit and miss because I gravitate towards some Tim Burton films more than others. However, I think it's super interesting. I'm finding more out about Tim Burton, who's one of my favourite filmmakers and favourite directors, and also the foreword was written by Johnny Depp, which I thought was super sweet, because obviously we know that Tim Burton and Johnny Depp work together quite a lot. And the final book that I'm sort of 100 pages, 50 pages in is Summarising by Samantha Shannon. This I'm reading as part of the Bonathon. Again, my copy is somewhere downstairs. It's part of the Bonathon, which is a read-along that Ashley from Frolic Through Fiction is hosting. She's been hosting it since October, and each month we have been reading the books in the Bone Season series. At the minute it's a trilogy, however Samantha Shannon is going to put out more books. Hurrah! You'll see in this wrap up a little bit later that the mime order is in this, so I'm just carrying on with the series and reading Summarising as the book for December. So far I'm loving it. It's really great. So on to the books that I read this month. So the first book that I listened to at the very beginning of the month on audiobook was The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and I can't remember the author's name. I listened to it on audiobook on Scribd because I wanted something short. I really like listening to non-fiction on audiobook, especially when I'm commuting to work, because it's kind of interesting and stuff. This kind of was self-reflection, self-help book that the guy had put together on how we should all care less and how we should approach happiness. This book I think I rated 3 out of 5 stars. I thought it was really good, really engaging, and some of the messages I really enjoyed. For example, I liked the idea that he explored happiness not as a destination, so the way that we should be like, oh, I'll be happy when I have this, I'll be happy when I do this. Actually, it's the process and the way that we live our lives that should cause happiness, and we should not think of happiness as a destination. I really enjoyed that concept. I didn't agree with everything that was in the book, like you do with most books. I thought his view on life was really great. I really enjoyed his story, and overall it was a pretty great read. I didn't find it profound, I didn't find it life-changing, but actually it was alright. The next book that I read was Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and this follows the story, if you have not heard and if you've been living under a rock, of Alex Stern, who is involved in a horrific crime, and she is the only person that survives this crime, and at her bedside she is offered by this mysterious person a full paid, full expenses, living, everything scholarship to Yale University. Alex has a certain amount of special powers, and she is in charge of investigating the secret societies in Yale and keeping them all kind of in check. This book I really enjoyed. I really liked the dark academia vibe of the whole book. The book was so well written, really immersive. Leigh Bardugo knocked it out of the park. The ending slightly crippled me a bit, and I can't believe that I'm going to have to wait so long for the next book. I really enjoyed this. I know it's kind of been met with mixed reviews on BookTube, but I really liked it. I think I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. I thought in certain areas the pacing wasn't that good, and also the mystery strand that ran through the story I didn't think was particularly strong. I thought it could have been improved. It kind of tied up a little bit too neatly. However, I really enjoyed the exploration of Alex's past and Alex's character, and her powers were super interesting, and I really enjoyed kind of like the magical realism of this story, the way it was quite a contemporary setting. However, there was like bits of magic and bits of fantasy interwoven. I loved the atmosphere of Yale. I thought that Leigh Bardugo, I think she did study at Yale University, possibly, maybe. I think she studied at Yale, and I really felt like I could capture Yale, and I felt like I was there. The story was super immersive for such a long book, and I really enjoyed this one. So the next book that you probably would have seen a reading blog for was The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. This was the final book in the Folk and Air trilogy by Holly Black, and it follows the story of Jude, who is a human who at the beginning of the trilogy was kidnapped, or her parents were killed by a fairy, and she lives out her days and grows up in the land of fairy. And it just kind of follows Jude. That happens. I can't tell you anymore because this was a sequel. I did a reading vlog on this, so you already sort of know my thoughts. I thought this was super great. I literally read it in less than 24 hours. I consumed this book. Holly Black's writing is addictive. I wanted more. Yeah, everything was good. I rated this 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. I love the series. I thought that this was a sort of good ending to the series if you kind of want a more conclusive wrap up. I did one in the wrap up of my vlog, but I really enjoyed this. I can't believe the series is over. I need another series to obsess over, so let me know if you can find one. And the final book is another series book. It is The Mime Order by Samantha Shannon. This is the second book in the Bone Season series, and it just follows Paige, who is a clairvoyant and lives in a society where clairvoyancy is illegal. That's as much as I can probably tell you. This story was a continuation of the Bone season. This story is a continuation of the Bone Season series. I think it's going to be about 7 books. And it just literally carries on straight after the Bone Season left off. This book I really liked. I didn't like it as much as the Bone Season. I thought that the pacing was slightly off. I thought that some parts of the story really dragged quite a lot, but other parts of the story went really quick. And the ending, I really loved the ending. There was a couple of like major mic drop moments, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. And the twists and turns, Samantha Shannon kept me on my seat until the end of the end, basically. She just kept me on the edge of my seat. And the character development in the story was super amazing. I really liked it, and I'm really starting to get attached to some of the key characters. I rated this 4 out of 5 stars, so I didn't like it quite as much as the Bone Season, partly because of the pacing issue, and I thought at the beginning it was very slow, and Samantha Shannon introduced us to a large cast of characters that I kind of had to get to grips with, and I don't do good with loads and loads of characters, and it took me a while to kind of get the gist, and now I'm reading the next book in the series. I kind of feel like I'm starting to understand some of the characters a little bit more. Overall, this is super great. I'm carrying on with the next book in the series. Samantha Shannon's writing is absolutely beautiful, and I really love it, and I want to carry on reading whatever she writes in the future. I've got Priory of the Orange Tree still to read, so yeah, super good. I can't wait. Well, I am reading the next book in the series, and I can't wait to read the rest. 4 out of 5 stars. It was really great. Hello, editing Lauren here. I also realised that I also read another book this month, and that was Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I read this as part of a buddy read with my friends Lizzie, Shannon and Lisa, and it was a struggle. I think the reason I forgot to include it is because as soon as I finished the book, I put it in my declutter pile. So if you don't know, the Throne of Glass is a OG booktube classic, and it follows Selena, who is a very talented and well-known assassin, and she is picked to be the king's champion in this like kind of trial-esque sort of thing, and Selena essentially has to battle it out to the death so she can become the king's champion. And even if she becomes the king's champion, she is forced to be his assassin for 4 years. This book was alright. I really enjoyed the competition element to the story. However, I didn't enjoy her character. I thought Selena was a brat. I thought she was very unlikable, and she was a bit of an asshole. And I couldn't get over like her character. I thought the romance was kind of a bit insta-lovey and a bit petty, and I just couldn't get over Selena and her attitude. I thought that the mystery element of the story was pretty cool, however it didn't keep me engaged enough for me to want to read on. I have heard that this series gets so much better as the story goes on. However, Sarah J. Maas failed to make an impression with me for this series. I thought that it wasn't good. It wasn't bad, like it wasn't atrocious, but it wasn't anything profound that I would commit myself. Sorry, things are dirty. I wouldn't commit myself to another like 6 or 7 books because I know how long this series is. I've also read Sarah J. Maas's other series, or the first book, In A Court of Thorns and Roses, and that is so much better and I prefer that one. So I'd rather commit my time to that one. Anyway, I think I rated it 2 out of 5 stars. It didn't impress me. I feel sad about it. I felt the book got better towards the end, but by then I was already mentally done and fed up of the book. So yeah, not successful. Anyway, back to future, past, present Lauren. So those were all the books that I read in the month of November. Sorry this video is a touch late whenever it goes up. November has been a really crazy month for me. Lots has happened, and because in the UK we get dark nights now, I'm finding it really difficult to find time to film because it's dark when I get home from work. But anyway, let me know in the comments down below what you read in the month of November. What do you plan to read in December? Are you close to your Goodreads kind of goal? I've already met mine, but I'd like to read a few more books before the end of the year. Let me know what you want to do. Let me know what you're thinking of doing for 2020. Let me know in the comments down below about your reading plans, and I will see you again soon. Goodbye.